Chapter 61. Half an hour later, after talking to all the reporters, angry Reggies and thankful Dirts, Emily slid into the back seat of her limo, letting out a huge sigh. "Nice camouflage," Rue declared, sitting across from her. "Well, know thy enemy and all that," Emily replied, smoothing the cream-colored linen of her dress pants. "Especially if thy enemy has a chauffeur and a minibar. Hello," she said, happy to get a snicker out of the ever-stoic Rue. Emily had never really gotten used to all the necessary trappings that the voters expected to see in politics. Indicators of money, power, and influence. The average voter may rail against the sins of excess in public or in church, but privately they wanted their leaders to have swagger and lots of it. Rue, dressed in her black stem cell leather jacket and Kevlar reinforced jeans, looked like she could tuck and roll right out of the limo, then get up, dust herself off, and walk into a pub. She watched Emily pour herself a drink, sipping it as the stress of all the campaigning diffused out of her. "So, what now? For you, I mean," Rue asked, opting to crack open a ginger ale. Emily sighed, her victory still not fully registering yet. She had hated being the mouthpiece for the Dirts. The limelight, the ugly things hurled at her on social media and in comment sections, the death threats that Rue had investigated. But, ironically, even after all that, and what she had stated earlier, she really didn't consider herself a Dirt. Yes, Emily could push with the best of them, but she would have hated training like Sasha, with her float tank and crypt-like hideout, or like the Dirt kids growing up in the enclaves, mini outlaw versions of their parents. After losing Sasha and everything else, Emily would be fine if she never dosed again. Whereas most Dirts spent all their waking hours under the influence of something, they existed in an esoteric, mystical reef, a self-made preserve, filled with strange and powerful creatures emerging out of space-time and probability and constructed out of light. Sure, Emily occasionally visited that magical realm and snorkeled a little on the surface, but afterwards she could just dry off and return to Newtonia. It seemed Emily's superpower was the ability to give it all up on demand and suffer no ill effects, except perhaps some lingering skips and odd memories, and that quality made her palatable, for lack of a better word, to the Reggies. She was just a discreet closet sipper in their eyes, like their grandpa sneaking a joint out in his garage on a random Sunday. Quirky, cute, and relatively harmless, and they loved that in a politician. Hell, in anyone really, because the world and all of its flora and fauna were simply exhausted. Perhaps now they could all get some well-deserved peace and quiet after today. "I've been thinking a lot about that lately, what comes next," Emily said, swirling the ice and liquor in the Rock's glass. "And, well, I decided before I went in there today that I would go back to botany if we won. It's the closest I can get to Sasha without living like us Dirts," Rue offered, knowing that the intensity of the cells and communes was too all-consuming for Emily. "I was gonna say dying," Emily thought in a detached, practical headspace. But Rue was right as well. In the slower pace of a lab or out in the field somewhere, the only pressure on Emily would be self-imposed and not mandated by an herb, drug, or other pesky humans. She wanted an actual Hobbit's existence now, slow, steady, and drama-free. However, with the power of the 10, Rue had seen that it would still be a while before Dirts could live entirely unfettered. And yet, each and every one of them now owed Emily their future, and the peace that might grow there. "Hey, your words, not mine," Emily said, swatting her friend. "But yeah, I just miss my plants, you know? I gotta get back to the simple life and out of the damn city," Emily said, thinking of all the time she had spent prepping for the hearing. Well, I don't have to say this, but I'm gonna. Because you know I like to keep my intentions clear as fuck. Ambiguity is for Reggies, Rue said, perking up Emily's interest through her alcohol buzz. We, all the Dirts, have your back, okay? Sasha left indelible, non-negotiable care instructions regarding you, and that means they might as well be tattooed on all our hearts, Rue said, double tapping her chest with a closed, black-gloved fist. You will always have access to anything we have. Our resources are your resources. I appreciate that, but, Emily started. I ain't finished, Rue interrupted, with a scrunched forehead and mock insult. Last thing. I like the Reggies. Hell, I love some of 'em. I was one before my training. Most are good people. However, her pupils expanded. A combination of the 10 in her blood and her unique ability to visualize future things as if they were current events. There are always bad apples, but rest assured, not one of those unevolved, hateful, bad apple fucksticks will lay a finger on you, alright? We got you. You are safe for life, Em. And, spoiler alert, it's going to be a long, happy one. The war is over. As of this moment, you're free and clear of it all. Emily cried gently as she stared into Rue's fierce yet caring eyes. After a few seconds of contemplative silence, she responded with a rugged look. Rue, I appreciate all that. I really do. You know me. I'm not a fighter. This shit was, hard. They both laughed at Emily's goofy nature. But that easy mirth quickly dissipated in the tone of what she had left to say. And I may be safe and have this instant easy out. This Secret Service level of protection. But you, the other Dirts, the kids, Rue. Now Emily leaned forward, her eyes as serious as Rue had ever seen them. As of this moment, you're the unofficial spokeswoman for our entire tribe. And, because I don't want to have to come out of my cushy early retirement, Emily said, eyebrows raised. Shoot, Rue requested, scooping the air with a give-it-to-me gesture. We won today, yes, but the clock is ticking loudly. You have 1 year, Rue. Don't screw this up. Rue eased back into the seat, steepled her fingers, and smiled widely at Emily, who smiled right back. Roger that, she replied, as the limo cruised towards the mountains and Emily's forever home.